The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian shares are mixed as the U.S. Congress moves closer to ending the federal shutdown, while traders look for direction amid a lack of fresh government data. Hong Kong's Hang Seng, South Korea's Kospi, and Singapore's Straits Times are currently trading higher, while other regional indices are in the red. In the currency market, the U.S. dollar is currently trading stronger against the Japanese yen, Singapore dollar, South Korean won, and the Thai baht. It is little changed against the Hong Kong dollar. The Australian dollar, meanwhile, is trading weaker against the greenback. In commodities, gold is currently trading flat with a slight downward trend, while U.S. oil prices are mixed. In cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is up 0.5%, while Ethereum is trading nearly 1% higher. The U.S. Supreme Court extends a pause on a lower court order that required President Donald Trump's administration to fully fund food aid amid the ongoing government shutdown. The move allows the administration to temporarily withhold about $4 billion from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. This comes as the U.S. Senate approves a compromise bill aimed at ending the longest government shutdown in American history. Fewer flights are being canceled in the U.S. as air traffic control staffing improves ahead of the expected end of the government shutdown. Airlines canceled around 1,200 flights on Tuesday, down from 2,400 cancellations on Monday. The Federal Aviation Administration says flight cuts could be reduced as more controllers return to work. In the UK, a Chinese fraud mastermind is sentenced by a British court to 11 years in prison for laundering billions in cryptocurrency. Chan Ji-min runs a Ponzi scheme that defrauded 130,000 investors of $5.6 billion. British police seized 61,000 Bitcoin linked to the fraud, now worth over $6 billion in one of the largest crypto seizures ever.
The success of this investigation has depended on partnerships with the Crown Prosecution Service, the National Crime Agency, and overseas law enforcement partners. We work closely with the Chinese authorities. Before the defendants entered guilty pleas, Chinese police officers were due to testify live in a UK court for the first time, and 18 victims were due to give evidence via video link. Today's outcome sends a clear message. Criminal assets are not safe in the UK.
Dubbed the crypto queen, Chan is arrested in April last year after spending years evading authorities and living an extravagant lifestyle in Europe, staying in luxury hotels and buying fine jewelry and watches. President Bongbong Marcos is still confident of hitting growth targets. Higher government spending, holiday consumption, and stronger exports are expected to boost growth. Palace spokesperson Claire Castro says the 5.5 to 6.5% growth is still possible despite corruption investigations and a string of disasters. The 1.31 trillion peso budget will fund key projects in health, education, and infrastructure. Former Philippine ambassador to the U.S., Jose Cuisia Jr., criticizes the trade deal with the United States. He calls it disappointing and unfair as tariffs on Philippine goods rise to 19%. Vietnam, by comparison, saw tariffs drop from 46% to 20%. Cuisia warns exporters are losing contracts, with some facing closure. He says negotiators missed a chance to use the Philippines' 9 EDCA sites as leverage. He adds that while the U.S. provides $500 million in military aid, economic support remains lacking. The Action for Economic Reforms, or AER, urges the government to oppose tobacco tax cuts, warning they could harm public health and cost state revenues. It says tax cuts won't curb illicit trade without stronger enforcement in the national licensing system. AER Advocacy and Communications Officer Sofia Rodriguez warns lower taxes could add 2 million smokers by 2035 and cost 167 billion pesos. Senator Risa Ontiveros says enforcing existing laws is the real solution, as every peso of sin tax revenue matters for healthcare and social programs. The Philippine government should invest more in education to ensure the economy benefits from the projected boom of the Generation Alpha population in the coming years. John Paulo Rivera, Senior Research Fellow at the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, says the expected growth of this young, tech-savvy population presents a huge opportunity and serious responsibility for the economy. He adds that a tech-savvy young consumer base will boost demand for digital services, education, housing, mobility, and lifestyle products, driving long-term domestic growth and making the Philippines one of Asia's most dynamic consumer markets. Sid De Rosa, senior economist at the University of Asia and the Pacific, meanwhile says the growing Gen Alpha population will expand the labor force and help stimulate business activity and economic growth. The Transportation Department assures commuters that operations of the Light Rail Transit Line 1 will remain stable, even as one of its key private partners considers exiting the project. Paulo Barcelon is on the line for this story. Hi, Paulo, go ahead.
My Acting Transportation Secretary Giovanni Lopez downplays concerns over potential changes in the ownership of Light Rail Manila Corporation, or LRMC, the private operator of the LRT-1. Lopez says the DOTr is working with LRMC and its shareholders, including Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, to ensure the concession terms are upheld and the Cavite extension completes on schedule. The remarks come after ultra Bilyonaryo Manny V. Pangilinan reveals that Metro Pacific is considering selling its stake in LRMC nearly a decade after entering the light rail business.
We continue to lose money on LRT1, and I think we're considering selling it, actually, getting out of the light rail. We just talked about it yesterday. People are complaining that losing money, why do we need this, and so forth and so on.
MVP says the company continues to incur losses despite the line's reopening after the pandemic and the initial operations of the Cavite extension. Metro Pacific holds a 35% stake in the consortium alongside the Ayala Group's AC Infra, Japan's Sumitomo Corporation, and Macquarie Investments Holdings. LRMC signed its public-private partnership agreement with the Philippine government in 2015, giving it a 32-year concession to operate and maintain the LRT Line 1, previously managed by the Light Rail Transit Authority. Acting Secretary Lopez says the DOTr ensures upcoming rail public-private partnership projects follow international best practices to attract global investors and operators. He notes strong interest in bidding for the North-South Commuter Railway, the Metro Manila Subway, LRT2, and MRT3, with at least 8 global operators participating in market-sounding activities. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Paulo Barcelon. We're taking a short break. More stories are coming up next. You're watching Business Brief. You're back on Business Brief. Chief Presidential Legal Counsel and former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile is in critical condition. Former Senator Gregorio Gringo Onasan tells BNC's The Spokes that the 103-year-old, confined to an intensive care unit, is practically begging to go home. Onasan adds he recently reunited with former aides in a gathering filled with laughter and reflections on Enrile's longevity. JPE's daughter Katrina confirmed in a statement her father is receiving dedicated care from medical professionals. A day earlier, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, citing a reliable source, said Enrile's condition is critical. Japanese automaker Honda warns China's intense electric vehicle competition threatens its earnings, along with pressure from U.S. tariffs and global chip shortages. Executive Vice President Noriya Kaihara says they lose pricing power. Shares fall 4.7% on Monday. The company cut its full-year profit forecast by 21%, expecting a $2.6 billion hit from U.S. tariffs. The bigger challenge is shrinking market share in Southeast Asia, where Japanese automakers once dominated. SM Investments reports a 6% increase in its net income for the first 9 months of 2025 at 64.4 billion pesos. The C family-led corporation disclosed total earnings of 482.3 billion pesos, 4% higher than last year's 462.5 billion. The corporation remarks retail revenues grew by 5% to 318.1 billion pesos. In banking, BDO Unibank records earnings of 63.1 billion pesos. The China Banking Corporation also posts a net income of 20.2 billion pesos. SM Prime, its property developer subsidiary, also sees a 10% rise in profits to 37.2 billion pesos. Alliance Global's third quarter profit jumps to 24.8 billion pesos. The group posts a 24% year-on-year growth on total revenue of 143.4 billion. Most of the earnings come from its real estate arm, MegaWorld, which netted 15.9 billion pesos, an 8% increase in revenue. Meanwhile, its spirits brand, Emperador, reported 41.2 billion pesos in revenue. Bloomberry Resorts net income plunges 95% in the first 9 months. The Enrique Razon Jr.-owned company posts gains of 160 million pesos, down from 3.5 billion last year. Gaming revenue hits 45.7 billion pesos, up just 0.4%, as VIP and premium mass segments remain weak. Non-gaming revenue rises 29% to 9.5 billion pesos. Nickel Asia Corporation reports attributable net income of 5.19 billion pesos for the first 9 months of the year. Company says this is up from 2.55 billion pesos during the same period last year. The firm attributed the strong earnings growth to higher saprolite ore export prices. The tourism industry might still be finding its footing, but one integrated resort is closing the year with a message of optimism and resilience. New Star Resort and Casino Cebu is celebrating the end of 2025 by lighting up the province, symbolizing hope, recovery, and renewed confidence in the local economy. Our G. Baroga has the story.
Despite slower tourism growth in the country, New Star Resort and Casino Cebu is marking a strong year, showing that confidence in the province's hospitality and leisure industry remains resilient. Cebu is weathering challenges this year, from a 6.9 magnitude earthquake in September to back-to-back storms Tino and Uwan. But recovery efforts continue, powered by both community spirit and private sector support. At the heart of that momentum is New Star, reinforcing its commitment to help drive Cebu's economic recovery and uplift the local tourism landscape. Their annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony carries the theme Pearl of the Holiday Season. According to NewStar Chief Operating Officer Sean Knights, the pearl symbolizes something that comes together under pressure, resilience, and beauty. And the most important?
The resilience part is important because of what we as a province have undertaken or undergone over the past month. The coming together of the community, the contribution that NewStar has made in that regard, but also the optimism that I'm starting to see coming back to the province and to Cebu City is remarkable.
The holiday spirit here in Cebu is in full swing as NewStar Resort and Casino lights up its Christmas tree with stars of hope, peace, love and joy, and of course, NewStar.
The stars were shared with children from NewStar's chosen beneficiary, the Children of Cebu Foundation. The new star, placed by Knights, stands for Cebu's collective optimism for the future. NewStar is staying focused on their mission to boost tourism in the region. Knights says that it takes teamwork with stakeholders and the local and national governments to make that vision a reality.
We're not a lone star. We're part of a broader galaxy. We like to play a part in that because together we can drive enhanced tourism to this region, which then starts to uplift the broader community.
For Knights, the holidays highlight what makes the hospitality sector meaningful, creating spaces where people can connect, celebrate, and find joy together. And with NewStar, it's not only about helping Cebu recover, but helping the entire nation rise again. G. Baroga, Bilyonaryo News Channel, Cebu City.
Philippine shares bounced back into the 5,700 level. The PSEI closed over 1% higher at 57.14, making it the best performer in Asia. Among the sectoral indices, only holding firms ended in the red, with services rising the most at nearly 3%. Advancers outnumber decliners 102 to 86, with value turnover reaching 6 billion pesos. Majority of the day's most active stocks were in the green, with PLDT rising the most at more than 4%. In the currency market, the peso is currently trading at 58.97 against the US dollar, stronger from the previous close of 58.99. Costco Capital Incorporated, the listed retail holding firm of Lucio Co., reports a 6.6% increase in consolidated net income to 10.7 billion pesos for the first 9 months of 2025. The company says this is up from 10 billion pesos during the same period last year. Strong operating performance across major business segments also lifted consolidated revenues by 11.5% to 182.9 billion pesos. Keepers Holdings reports a net income of 2.43 billion pesos for the first 9 months of 2025. The largest imported liquor distributor in the Philippines says this is up 12% from 2.17 billion pesos during the same period last year. Keepers attributes the growth to strong sales in its imported brandy segment. Invest Land Incorporated reports consolidated revenues of 20.08 billion pesos for the first 9 months of 2025, up 9% from last year. Net income rises 5% to 3.64 billion, while earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization climbs 9% to 9.01 billion pesos. The company attributes its strong performance to sustained leasing momentum from its retail and office investment properties. And that's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.